But welcome to the South Burlington Development Review Board meeting. It's July 15th, 2025. And we're the South Burlington Development Review Board. And before we get started, I will just note that whether you're attending in person or online, it's important that you sign in. Signing in allows you to seek interested person status in the situation where you may want to appeal or otherwise act on a decision we ultimately make on any of the applications that are being discussed tonight. If you're in person, there is a sign-in sheet in the back. If you're online, you can type your name and email into the chat box or email your contact information to Marla Keene at mkeene@southburlingtonvt.gov. And with that, we'll move to our first agenda item, which is emergency evacuation procedures. So for folks in the room tonight, there's doors on either back end of the auditorium. Go out those doors, go right or left, and you will find an exit to the building. Next item is additions, deletions, or changes in the order of agenda items. Are there any? Nope. Hearing none. Third item is any announcements. I do not believe we have any of those.
So I just want to announce the tech situation. Yes. So for those of you who are attending in person, we're not able to get the screen, the confidence monitors or the projector screen to work, but most members have their computers. Everyone has the packets, and I know some of you brought handouts. And then for those that are online, we're just going to conduct the meeting as usual. Just know that the people in the room aren't seeing what you're seeing. So we're going to pretend like it's projected, but we're not actually seeing it. So people are going to have to be a little bit slower as they catch up. We have put in a call to our IT department. We'll see if they get back to us.
Great. Thank you. And then moving on to agenda item number 4, comments and questions from the public not related to the agenda. Do we have any in person or online? Nope. And so that brings us to our first project this evening, and that is Master Plan Application MP 2501 of City of Burlington, Patrick Leahy Burlington International Airport to amend a master plan for an approximately 901.6 acre existing airport complex. The amendment consists of adding 14,200 square feet hangar in a location at the south end of the master plan area accessed via Aviation Drive at 1200 Airport Drive. So I'll ask who is here for the applicant, and you guys can move forward. So yeah, we still have the audio, so we'll still ask you guys to use the microphones as you're able.
Oh shoot, I should have set up a second microphone. I can do it.
Do we want to take a moment?
No.
Okay. Yes, you guys are amending your master plan application as we noted. And so just start by introducing yourselves as far as whoever might testify for the application.
Sure. I'm Katie Calabrese with EIV Technical Services.
And Jackie DeJess with EIV Technical Services.
Larry Lackey with the airport.
Yep.
And then remotely, we also have Chris Gendron from Stantec.
Great. And so that's 4 of you tonight?
Hello.
Excellent. So I'm going to swear you in because we need you for this one. So raise your right hand, including the online participant. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. And to start things off, we'll start by just asking you to provide an overview of the proposal.
Yep, so we have packets here for everyone to respond to the staff comments for our master plan application, or master plan amendment application.
Great. And so yeah, if you just want to, we saw the master plan application relatively recently, but if you guys just want to speak to the amendment that you're looking to make and give a little bit of context.
Sure. Like you said, we're looking to add the BTV hangar, which would be accessed via Aviation Drive. So we're adding that to the phase 2 of our existing master plan.
Excellent. Board, does anyone have any questions before we jump into the staff comments? Okay, not seeing any. So this first comment is just pertaining to the notice of a second neighborhood development or neighborhood meeting, because it seems like there was a misnotice or didn't include everyone who needed to be. And so you can say your response to that.
Yep. So we've got a second neighborhood meeting scheduled for July 24th at 5 p.m. That'll be taking place at the airport.
Great. And so I will get to this later in the staff report, but I believe the recommendation is to continue this in the next application till August 5th. So that works with the 7-day requirement to have that 7 days before. So that works well. Thank you. I'm sure you were aware of that. And moving on to item number 2. And board, goes without saying there's not a ton of red comments in this report, but if anyone has anything in between the comments, please speak up. So we're on staff comment number 2. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to revise the context map to show the listed features, specifically including parcel streets and transit routes within a quarter mile of the project area. And you guys did include one context map, and the staff included the example from a previous application you guys gave.
Yep. So in that packet, you'll see an included context map, and we have included the parcels and streets. There are no transit routes located within the quarter mile radius of the project area.
Great. Staff, does that look good from your perspective? I think it looks on a similar scale to the previous one. Okay. Board, did you have any questions on this that we're just seeing? Okay, gives good context to the location. Thank you. And so that brings us to item number 3. So this is in regards to a wetland complex that's known to be located on the property. So we're looking for a confirmation that the proposed addition is outside of the wetland and buffer. So confirmation on that front, and then 2, an updated context map that shows that the buffer potentially.
Yep. So that same context map you'll see just below where the hangar is going, between Eagle Drive and Da Vinci Drive, the Class 2 wetlands and buffer.
Okay, great. So it looks like you guys are outside of that. Thank you. Anything else from board or staff? We have one more here. And item number 4, the applicant has submitted a graphical image of the buildable area for each phase, but has inadvertently labeled the image with the phase 3 information. Appears they have also failed to update the total row in the above table shown in the packet. Staff recommends the board confirm whether the applicant that the above values highlighted in red are correct.
Yep. So I've included a revised summary statistics from our narrative, and have corrected the label on the graphics as well as the table. So that should all match up again.
So is the summary table in the packet, did we correctly?
It looks like it's slightly different.
Yep. So the phase 3, I believe it was 56 in the first one. Now it's 54. So the total remains 146.27. Happy to answer any questions.
So yeah, there's a change in the phase 3 calculation, which results in the change in the total.
How did phase 3 end up different from what was in the master plan decision?
Sorry, say that again.
So the numbers in this table, I'm pretty sure I pulled from the approved master plan decision. So how did it end up smaller?
So that included an area that was switched over to phase 2 because that includes the this BTV hangar. So the total remains the same. It just switched the
Oh.
area in phase 2 and phase 3.
Okay, I don't think we understood that as staff, that the hangar was in an area in phase 3 and it's being moved to phase 2.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Board, anything else on this master plan amendment application or the materials that have been submitted in response? Not hearing any. Anything else as far as?
No, our whispering was about that we hadn't realized that it was moving from phase 2,
Face to face, yeah.
from phase 3 to phase 2.
Well, I think we talked about it last time where, the time, from a timing standpoint.
Can you use the
Yeah,
mic,
sorry.
please?
And there's ones up
You
here
can use
too.
the
That might
standing
be
one if you'd
easier.
like.
Sorry about that. I believe we talked about it just because from a timing standpoint, it comes in with the phase 2 timing versus the phase 3 projects that's coming sooner than phase 3.
Okay.
Have we touched on that at the last hearing or something?
Okay, I guess we hadn't really understood that. It doesn't, it actually would have been better for you if we had understood that earlier, I think, because we potentially, I don't want to speak off the cuff, but there's a potential that it could have been considered a minor master plan amendment instead of a major master plan amendment, because it was area already included. We're already here,
Yeah.
so let's just finish it the way we're doing it, and if we need to adjust the decision in some way to
Okay.
reflect that, we will. But it's not going to be more work, it might be less work.
Just to clarify real quick, this is Chris Gendron on online. The hangar itself was never shown or considered on the master plan under any phase. So I think we were correct, Marla, in that we did a major.
Okay. All right, I'll read up on it. Like I said, the only thing it's going to do is make it less process, not more. So we'll get it figured out by the continued hearing and won't require you guys to do any more work. It'll just be how the decision's written.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for that. And we're at the end of the staff comments. I wasn't hearing anything additional from the board, so if there are any public comments either in the room or online for this application, we would take those now. I don't think we have any. With that, I would entertain a motion to continue MP 2501 to the August 5th meeting.
Should we do both of them together or individually, since they're sort of tied together?
Yeah, we can move at the end. Yeah, that's a good point. Sounds good.
Just in case anything comes up during that application that would preclude us from doing it later than August 5th.
Yeah, yes.
I don't
right.
foresee it, but I'm just thinking if they're tied together.
No, I agree. Yeah, so we'll wait to put those together in case you need more time, just in case. Great. So we're holding that open for the time being, and we'll continue later if I forget to include it. Board, help me out with that one. And that has us move on to agenda item number 6. So site plan application SP 2527 of City of Burlington, Patrick Leahy Burlington International Airport to construct a portion of phase 2 of concurrent master plan amendment, which we just spoke about, for an approximately 901.6 acre existing airport complex. The phase consists of constructing an approximately 13,800 square foot hangar in a location at the south end of the associated master plan. 240 Eagle Drive is the address. Looks like we're swapping out a little bit here, so take a seat, and when you're able, turn your mics on and introduce yourselves.
Just
Alex Gagnon with Beta Technologies.
Ben Ajami with Silver Maple Construction.
Great. And Larry, are you going to chime in on this one too? Great. And anyone
And Chris
online?
Chris Gendron with Stantec Consulting Services.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Ben, what was your last name?
Ajami, it's ADJAMI.
All right, so we've got the 4 in person, 1 online. I will swear you in. Let me get my notes. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And so we just had the master plan application that gave some context to this. But before we dive into the staff comments, if there's any additional opening statements you wanted to provide here, please do that now, or we can just jump in.
Yeah, I can just give you a little bit more context for the project. I think when this was originally in front of the board for sketch, this was referred to as the Meyer hangar. So since the sketch plan, this is sort of shifted over to what we're now calling the Aaliyah hangar, and Beta Technologies is going to be taking ownership of the hangar. So that's why I'm here today. So it was always sort of the intent that Beta was going to be a beneficiary of this hangar. So we've had some input since early on. So you'll see in the drawings in form, this building really hasn't changed all that much. So the footprint's the same, location, all of that. What we have done, though, is we've reoriented the building a little bit. So in sketch, we had an office space on what is sort of the north side of the building, sort of adjacent to the runway. We've shifted that space down to the south side of the building, so it's more connected with our larger campus. We have an MXT hangar directly next to this hangar, so we wanted to sort of connect those two facilities and really make the front-facing side towards the parking lot of the main entry and that road. So that's sort of the major change that you'll see here. Other than that, it's an aircraft storage hangar. It's where we hope to store our electric aircraft and some of our GA aircraft. It's really overflow for space that we are running out of right now. So with that, yeah, we've reviewed all the staff comments and are ready to go through them. I actually have a handout here too that I'll pass around.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you. The first staff comment here is about the dimensional standards that were provided. So it appears that the table accounts for as yet unpermitted projects, and therefore the reported values don't appear to be accurate for the proposed site plan. So the recommendation is for the table to be updated to remove unpermitted projects to reflect the proposed coverage at this time.
Yeah, and that was completed. Chris Gendron online. That was completed, and we resubmitted. We took those projects off, the ones that are kind of future plan projects, and we took those off and resubmitted that exhibit.
Is it possible to turn up the volume of online at all, just a hair? I don't know if other board members.
We might be able to do it on my
find
end
that
as
to be
well.
helpful.
We can
Do a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that in the room, Chris.
Yeah.
No need to
Thank
adjust
you.
on your end.
Yeah, we'll do that in the room. Thank you. Oh, now we will be very loud. Okay, I can sit back a little bit more. Great. So it sounds like that's been updated and submitted.
And Alex, that's somewhere in the handout that you just gave everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't identifying a potential problem. It was just a
Cleanup.
cleanup. Yep.
Great. Okay, so moving on to the second comment here. The applicant is not proposing any new parking. While there are no minimum requirements, staff recommends the board confirm that the proximate parking will be available, that proximate parking will be available for users of the proposed building. So where will folks who are using this building be able to park?
I
Yeah.
have some questions about
Yeah.
that. In making the decision to produce no parking, no additional parking, what kind of analysis did you do about additional parking demand?
Chris might be able to speak to a formal analysis, but I think really what this is an aircraft storage hangar, so there's not intended to be any sort of daily users. It would be the same users that we have already using the MXT parking lot, the hangar right adjacent to this one. So we've had plenty of parking at the MXT parking lot, and so that goal would just be to share that parking.
So so the creation of this facility calls for no additional personnel, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. And we can move to staff comment number 3. Staff recommends the board ask the applicant to enhance the building's appearance. So this is looking at the elevation of the proposed hangar by providing windows and other features such as a variation in siding to break up the street-facing facade. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so hangars are kind of a funny one. We actually don't want to have too many windows in a hangar just due to aircraft degradation. You don't want to be introducing too much outside light, so we're sort of limited on what we can do with adding windows. What we did do, though, is if you're looking at the revised elevations, we added a couple windows on the west side of the building, sort of the Eagle Drive side, to try to help with that. The locations where we added them were sort of close to what would be the lobby space and out of the way of where an aircraft might be exposed to the light. And then we also just added some trees along that side of the building to help break up that elevation as well.
And so those windows would be to the street-facing side?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the smallest elevation of the building is really the street-facing side and where the public is going to see it. And so we do have quite a few roof drains and windows on that side.
Mark, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it is what it is kind of thing. It's an aircraft hangar right amongst other aircraft hangars. I've made the joking argument about trying to get the old school, utility buildings of the, turn of the century. Not going to happen. My comment, and I think it's fine, my comment more goes to the landscaping question, because I'm not arguing against trees, but didn't we have a huge argument and fight on the main building about putting any trees above like knee high as attracting birds, and we can't have that per FAA regulations? Yet you guys are proposing 80-foot tall, full grown, autumn blaze when it's all built out. Where's the I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just wondering where we can now do it where we couldn't before.
Yeah, I wasn't as heavily involved in that project. Larry, yeah.
Larry, sorry if you just,
And I'm not trying to say get rid of the trees. Yeah. I'm just wondering why.
We need to reevaluate that and come back to the next hearing on that issue, because we don't want the trees. So
yeah, I was going to say before it was a safety issue. It wasn't an aesthetic issue.
We can do something else, but we can't have trees that close to the roadways and taxiways. Yep.
Yeah, so I think Larry, our hope would be to actually not come back. So I apologize for Larry and I discuss this one. What we could do is also get rid of some of the trees that are closer to that runway, Larry, and revise the site plan to remove the ones. That was actually a bit of our hesitation why we hadn't had trees initially in the plan. Was sort of remembering.
So now that we're losing trees that you guys were using as ways to break up the facade, what can we do here?
Yeah, I guess my hope would be is that, really the front of the building is that south side. So that's where the public and most are going to be experiencing it. Again, we did add some windows along that side of the building, and there's still some sort of taller shrubs that I think sort of break up that elevation.
Right. One thing to keep in mind is obviously with glass of today, there's any number of high performance films you can put onto the the actual glass that pretty much blocks all UV for degradation and stuff like that for protection of interior. And part of me wonders if, you know, that might be some way of getting some inkling of some of the old school hangars of past, which did use lots of clerestory windows and to get natural light in. If there's any way we could look at that to get some of the way to break it up, considering, you know, reducing the number of windows was because of the, you know, safety of the planes and degradation. That's kind of a moot point with some of the UV films you can apply to the glass these days.
Yeah, we've
Or a cowl wall. You can go and do a cowl wall, which allows light but isn't an actual
right.
glass product, because that also gets into sort of blast, you know, concerns and things like that.
Yeah, and we're actually using some cowl wall on the other side of the building. Yeah, I think like we sort of this blank face was sort of relates to a lot of the other hangars that are in this space. Like even if you look at the Pratt and Whitney hangar, there's a lot of those larger walls. And if we were to pull up a map, which I should have included of the other hangars here, they do it. Most of them are sort of fully enclosed. Some of them don't have any glass at all. So
yeah, I know. But when we get a bite at the apple, we like to try to get it.
yeah, no, understood. So, yeah.
You know,
What is the siding proposed here? Because I don't think it's labeled on the elevation drawings.
It's going to be IMP Kingspan panels. So it's going to match the MXT hangar that's next to it and then the larger production facility that's just down the road.
So just white prefab steel?
Yeah, white prefab aluminum panels. Yep.
Can you help me where the windows are? So I'm looking at the differences between the two elevation views. In the long elevation views along Eagle Drive, it looks like you're adding like a full window and two half windows.
Yep.
But then you have a proposed side elevation, and it looks like you're limiting two smaller windows for full height windows or something like that.
I don't know that we eliminated. Maybe we did eliminate one.
You had like four
window.
smaller windows and then a door, and now you've got.
Yeah, I think we ended up. Or sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm just yeah.
Yeah, so we did end up taking some of the windows that were along that south side and moving them over to the west elevation. Part of that was just sort of trying to fit in some other features like the downspouts that we've added to that elevation. And then we've obviously got the fence, security fence, and didn't want to add windows beyond that. Sort of the other piece of the windows is for us, it's a bit of a security concern. We do have our sort of state-of-the-art aircraft in there, so it was both the UV light and then just trying to make sure that people couldn't see through. I know some of that can be resolved with a film, but
or higher windows. You're not gonna, you know, getting some clerestory windows up in the upper areas that would let some natural daylight into the hangar space.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe it's a conversation with Larry. We should maybe look at how many trees would be acceptable along that elevation of the building.
Right. Well, the thing is,
Sorry, Larry. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I apologize for this, but we can't. I mean, those trees are in the transitional zone of an approach of the runway, so we need to do something about that. So
Yep.
I apologize. I didn't get a look at this before it came in, so we need to regroup on that. So.
Larry, can you give us a little direction when you say those trees? Are you talking about all of the trees on the shown on the landscaping plan, or just the ones that are south of the building, the ones that are west of the
I
building?
would say if they're near the new hangar, if you're looking at runway 33, you see the runway right above it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the runway. Planes come in like this, but there's transitional services that come off like this off from an approach. So we cannot have any, and we'd have to study that, and we don't want any high trees in that direct area right there. So.
And I think, Cynthia, you had done a bit of a study on that to make sure that we were selecting trees that were.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I think for right now that I'm hearing is the board would like to see something to kind of break up the elevation a little bit more. Sounds like there's an internal discussion to be had about what kind and if any of those trees can be kept. You've heard some ideas and feedback from the board. You guys will be coming back anyways. Do you guys feel like you have the direction you need, or in board anything else, or any questions from the applicant?
I would just say, you know, go to your architect and ask them to look at the proposed side elevation that's facing, you know, the street and the short side that's was going to rely on the trees, and then the certain portion of the, I guess, rear elevation where the windows currently are, and you have the storefront into the office space, and just say, look, you know, what we're looking for is a way to not deny that it's a hangar, not deny the setting it's in, but try to get the best we can from at least a balanced elevation. You know, right now I look at these windows and, you know, there's two different sizes, you know, and it looks like someone just kind of dropped them in there just to say, here's some windows when the entire inside of the hangar is open other than that one office area. You know, tell them to, I'll put in air quotes, architect it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
How many, I understand you're not hiring new people to work in here, but how many people, how long will the workers who are working in here be spending in there in a day?
Really, it's going to be coming in and hopping in an aircraft and heading out for a flight.
Which means
I don't know, half an hour maybe tops.
Does this mean to sort of like a lounge kind of thing?
This would be just a lobby for the
Lobby.
building. Yeah,
With
somewhat
I
like
see
an
there's one.
FBO.
There's a bathroom in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But nobody's sitting on this side, this windowless vault, 8 hours a day.
No, that is not the intent. No, it's really just for
Not to
aircraft.
cast aspersions.
Yeah.
Would there be any work done on the equipment, or is this just a storage hangar, or is there any maintenance activities on these aircraft?
No, the way this was designed and for fire sprinkler and everything, we can't do maintenance in this hangar.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just to ask the board, when you guys reviewed a few years ago a similarly functional warehouse building and had a lot of back and forth about appearance, and one of the suggestions you had made and they ended up going with was, in addition to some windows and some landscaping, they had varied the texture and the color of the siding so it wasn't all one uniform face. I don't know if that still feels like something you would think is an improvement here, but I just wanted to remind you that that's something you had looked at before.
The only questions I would have about this is one, you know, is landscaping an acceptable form of breaking up the building? Because it's something we could still consider, even if it's not trees. There's other ways to do it that would stay below that approach cone. And two, considering this is a private drive, this may be more of a question. It's a private drive and it supports just one other user, the Pratt and Whitney hangar over to the left. The majority of people are only going to see that south side because Da Vinci Drive, yes, that, you know, Beta employees use that, and now it's kind of becoming more of a traveled road for the Vermont Flight Academy and other developments happening back there. Would that come into consideration that, you know, it's not a public road and it's a private road, and in that, is there any you know, are we using our money wisely to pretty up the correct side of the building, or is there another side of the building we should be more focused on?
Oh, sorry, there was a lot there, but so we're looking at a part of the LDRs that requires us to consider the architectural features, and you know, the staff comment was focused on the street side of the facade and things that would be visible from that end. I think a lot of feedback has been given that we would like to see some variation and broken up in that way. To Marla's point, if the applicant was thought that proposing a variation in siding, texture, color, what have you, in some way is something that they might be interested in. I think that would be a reasonable approach as well. But I will also let the rest of the board respond to anything that was brought up.
Yeah, I mean, if you could keep the trees that are on the landscaping plan, it would match, similar to the Pratt & Whitney hangar that's just across from it, right? But that's an airport issue, right? You should really work through that. Otherwise, if you can't keep the trees, then, yeah, breaking it up into some different textures, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if it was shorter trees. That would probably like shorter trees. That, yeah. I guess. Why don't we go through the rest of the comments and maybe it's one we circle
Yeah.
back to on the
Yeah.
plantings if we have time.
I mean, I
if you
think,
don't mind.
I think what you're hearing is with the, with the trees going away as being a real use of breaking up the elevations.
Yeah.
Come back to us with some sort of proposal that it's not just a big white box with a few small little windows in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand it's private. I understand it's not, but at the same time, I don't think you guys want, sort of a blab drive, box that opens up and you put your planes in it.
Yeah, and I think, like Chris said, when we put this together, we certainly didn't want that. Right? Like for all of our buildings, we even the production facility, we do have sort of a long expanse of white panels that we appreciate, but understood. Yeah.
I'm going to come back to my earlier question briefly, another aspect of I heard you mention there were some offices in here.
It's a lobby space.
Pardon?
There's no offices. Yeah.
It's just a lobby with a
Just a
bathroom.
lobby? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where the glass is?
Yeah.
Yes, that's where the glass is. Yeah.
Lobby, bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple bike racks and the rest of it's just open storage.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, board, before we move on from this one? Okay, great. Okay, so moving on to number 4. This is about the site amenity that the applicant is proposing. So the current proposal is for a snippet/parklet site amenity. So this is a site amenity that is described as must having fixed seating as a main focus and landscaping as a primary component. So part of this comment will relate to the tree discussion we were having. So the provided space is approximately 900 square feet, which does meet the parklet requirements. It appears to have 1 bench and 3 cafe style tables and 17 grass plants. Staff recommends the board consider whether the landscaping achieves the requirement of being a primary component of the space and whether to permit movable seating. Notably, the applicant has not provided details of any of the hardscape features. So, applicants, if you could start to respond to that. Again, both kind of the proposed landscaping in the parklet area, but then also the movable seating. That would be helpful.
Sure. Hi. So in terms of the parklet definition in this case, if you're looking at the plan, there's a sort of a hardscape pad suitable for putting site furniture on, but the surrounding landscape is we're also thinking of as part of the amenity. We just didn't happen to count it in the math because A, we didn't have to, and we didn't want this to be cheating. So that bench shown on the left-hand side as you're facing the building is backed up to kind of a extensive shrub planting around a rain garden system essentially. So users on that paved pad, pavers, we think that will match those at the MXT building next door. They are sort of nestled in a little bit of a green space, as green as we can get around the airport, which we know is a limiting factor. And then it was requested that there be a little bit of lawn space, on the kind of rare occasion that maybe somebody has kids out or there's some event that sort of spills out. So the combination of the sort of paver patio with a little bit of site furniture, again, sort of the quantity of that furniture is gauged to the perception of use, meaning not a lot of people lingering around the building for any length of time most of the time. Bracketed by kind of a planted area with a little bit of a lawn as overflow space. We sort of see as the amenity space and, trying to fulfill the requirement of the parklet or snippet, we sort of drew a, kind of a reasonable rectangle around some of those features.
There's also like 5 boulders on the plan. Are they being used to like screen the door and other parts of the?
So they refer design-wise to what is happening in front of the MXT building. I don't know if you have a vivid, I don't know how often you get down Da Vinci Drive, but the project that has been installed next to this neighboring Beta building, includes site boulders from the excavation of, the big thing, the manufacturing facility down the road. And they're just sort of used aesthetically. They're, kind of integrated to soften the look of this space that is otherwise very industrial. And we think it worked, fairly successfully at MXT. So it's sort of, trying to make those buildings, big sister, little sister, if not exactly twins.
So I guess I had a question. I think what I'm understanding is the applicant is representing that there is like the core amenity space they originally identified, but they're actually thinking of the more broad walkway and kind of green area as the full amenity space. Is that a reasonable interpretation from staff's perspective?
Yeah, so I think that's reasonable. The type that they've chosen, the snippet parklet, can be between 600 and 4,000 square feet. So I don't think that including the surrounding space brings it over that limit. And that would be my one concern if it were to, but it doesn't. There's the component of fixed seating. It sounds like you're getting to that.
So thank you for clarification on that. That was going to be the other thing of, could you just speak to, is it a possibility to kind of alter the proposal to have some fixed seating instead of the cafe style?
Yeah, I mean it is. It's the bench is fixed, for example. That's in a new detail sheet included in your packet. The there's been an attempt, and I'll be the first to admit it's been a little patchy, to sort of create a campus-wide language of site furnishing at Beta, and we're still working on it. So that was the movable table and chairs happened to be what was proposed for MXT, but there's no reason that something very similar looking couldn't be fixed. Again, we were sort of going after the style of, we don't need anything sort of gargantuan and heavy. It's kind of a small space, but there are things that look like cafe seating that can be fixed to the pavement. So that is just an issue of us, kind of identifying a product from a similar line that can be tied down. So.
Okay. Or just to give it a couple things at play here, but any other feedback on, does anyone not feel strongly that that should be fixed given the definition of the parklet? No. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were no one is in disagreement there. And anything else? Thank you for your overview. You said a lot. Anything else I'm missing, or anything else the board had responses to with that overview? And we feel like, with the inclusion of the larger space, that meets the requirement better of landscaping being a primary feature. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're gonna have looks like about $20,000 to spend on some additional landscaping within that area. It's sort of highlighted and accentuated and softened up.
You're thinking with the imminent demise of the trees.
Yes.
That's $20,000.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna work through that one.
Like I said, I hate the fact that I'm the one that said get rid of the trees, but I just suspect it was coming, and it was a big discussion at previous meeting. So might as well get it on the table now, so we can get the correct plan before us at the next hearing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the intent, as I understood it, of the landscaping budget requirement was the addition of as much plant material as possible. In the past, we've sort of included some, let's call it fancy hardscape items over and above that total. But our intent would be to keep most of that money in planting. So it's just a matter of working with the airport to figure out what will work there. So.
Yeah, and we are allowed to entertain hardscape as part of the landscaping budget, as long as it's more unique and accentuating and really enhances the site, not just your bland generic.
Yeah, and it's typically Beta's wish to have, sort of green components to the campus too. So I think that's all. Actually, it's something that I've been describing as no one is into but me. On that long side of the building, the initial proposal was actually to have zero lawn, to have a big enough shrub planting that it would be a no-mow zone. And I like that idea. So we may go back to an approach like
able to get
that.
some more shrubs
that
and get
comes
rid of the
further,
grass.
further toward the amenity.
As we all know, is considered the most invasive species in America. So.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Sounds like a good option.
Yep.
Great, and I think we can move on to staff comment number 5. So this is about enclosing, I'll just read it. The applicant appears to be proposing a new chain link fence to enclose around an existing telecommunications cabinet. Staff members of the board asked the applicant to describe why such an enclosure is proposed. Screening of above ground utility features is required, and is discussed below in the staff report. So, any response to that?
Yep. So I actually included a photo of the current utility. So right now, I'll call it like an enclosure. It's really just a roof over a pump station, electronics. So it's right now. This is inside the airport perimeter fence, so it doesn't need to be secured. When we move that fence line for the building, we will need to secure it. So we had originally should have fenced on there. What we'd like to propose is using a shipping container. We use those at our other facilities at the North Hangar, next to the airport terminal, and sort of throughout the Beta campus. So it would just be consistent with the architecture throughout the rest of the airport and our other facilities to put a shipping container over that to secure it.
Sorry, you're going to put a shipping container right in front where the board just had a big discussion about the appearance of the building.
Yeah, we think it actually adds to the appearance. So, in our opinion, it's I know shipping containers can have a bit of a stigma, but we paint them white, make them look good, and we think they're an adder and don't take away. But
I could buy this if the shipping container was painted like two-tone, just like the building, like it's a miniature building of the building.
You could ask your architect when he architects the building to maybe look at the shipping container, and it seems like we're gonna have some nice landscaping overage to get some screening on it.
Same small plantings along the long side or along the long side of the shipping container.
We're talking about doll housing
Oh,
shipping
yeah.
container now? Okay.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Put some clerestory windows into it.
The use of the term shipping container has a refreshing candor. That's about all it has.
All right. Anything else on that one? All right. So some potential improvements to be made there as well. So moving on to the next item. Number 6, no dumpsters are shown on the plans. All dumpsters must be enclosed and shown on site plan. Therefore, the addition of a dumpster after the fact would require a site plan amendment, which we would like to have you avoid if needed. And staff recommends the board ask the applicant to describe the proposed plan for solid waste.
So we're going to actually just use the dumpsters at the MXT facility, which is right next to this building.
Okay, great. We just wanted to make sure we weren't putting in anything else.
I actually have a question to ask about the current I'm looking at these images.
Yep. Yeah.
And is the item entitled current enclosure what you intend to replace with a shipping container?
That is it. Yep. Yep.
This is just a little off the wall, and I'll defer to Mark if he thinks it's ridiculous. But look, seeing the works here is sort of interesting. I mean, it's got an element of interest to it, as opposed to, shipping container. So the question is there something like, I use the term plexiglass for lack of knowledge of any other transparent hard surface, but is there something you could put around the current enclosure? Would it be both economical and retain at least what has an element of visual interest? Is that possible? Is that nuts, Mark? What do you think?
I think it's in the eye of the beholder. I don't see what's in there as being, I see it as more, can't quite tell, is it sort of control panels and
It's going to be security stuff, right?
Right, the pump station. I mean,
so there's a security aspect to this going on because the fence line is moving.
Well, the question is there a transparent surface, transparent walls that would provide the necessary element of security? Well, I find that more interesting than the side of a shipping container.
I believe because it's visible from the street, if that remains exposed, it would need screening regardless as utility equipment.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Since it's utility equipment, it would require screening in the form of planting or fencing, regardless.
They would have to end up hiding it anyway, with like plantings and stuff. So you would end up wouldn't even see it.
I think that's an area that the board could exercise some
All right.
discretion. If it is genuinely interesting, you know, you don't necessarily have to hide it. In the same way that you can make a rain garden genuinely interesting rather than a functional pile of gravel.
Well, I mean, you could just put, you honestly could just chain link it, which secures it, and then put some landscaping for screening. And
I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, I think that's actually what we show in the landscaping plans now. L000. So we're happy to go that route if that's.
That's gonna be a
something the
lot
board
less
would accept.
intrusive than a shipping container that you then attempt to screen and hide and dollhouse up.
Yeah, no, we can go that route. That's what's on the plans now. So Cynthia drew in some plantings around it. We can go.
And the money you save on that by just putting chain link, you can throw into the windows.
Yeah, we've got a lot of extra shipping containers right now. So
I know.
Yeah.
Some helpful feedback there. Good to move on to the next one, board. Okay. Great. So item number 7. So we're talking about the commercial energy efficiency requirements. So the CBES required 40% of the roof to be solar ready. The applicant has not provided a solar ready zone. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the plan to provide a required solar ready zone on the roof.
See, EO1 has been added to the submission. It is in the packet in front of you, showing the solar ready zone.
Year 1, yep. I think it's the last one. Yep, in the great, and it looks like your requirements are listed there, and it's reinforced and all of those types of things to make it solar ready.
Correct.
Okay. Board, did you have any questions on that representation? All right, moving on to number 8. So this is also about being solar ready. Sorry, I'm just remembering.
So this is about provision of a solar photovoltaic system or an alternative system. The applicant has the option to either install the solar panels in the provided solar ready zone or propose an alternative. There's a whole list. You can either demonstrate that you don't need the whole thing to meet the energy demands of the building, or you have a geothermal or whatever. Most of those requirements are requirements of zoning permit for the purposes of just this decision. Which way are you headed? Are you going to do the solar? Or are you going to do something else? Is all we're asking for.
Yeah, we're gonna move forward with the solar on the roof.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on to number 9, assuming board doesn't have anything else on that one. Staff recommends board require the applicant to revise the plans to include both the required short and long-term bicycle parking spaces that are required with this new building.
Chris, do you want to take this one?
Sure. There's actually 2 different alternatives we're looking to consider. One, there's 3 existing bike racks at the MXT hangar and if you can, hopefully you can follow along on, I think it would be on the landscaping plan that would point those out. There's 3, I would say underutilized bike parking spaces, but that's here nor there. Those 3 bike parking those 3 racks would accommodate 6 spaces for bike parking, for short-term bike parking. And I think what we'd like to do is if we calculate it out per square footage basis between the 2 buildings, you're really only going to get to 4, I believe. So I think we could use the existing bike parking loops to provide the requirement. The only caveat there is that, yes, in the LDRs, they do require 4 minimum for non-residential uses. So if that is the case, then we're happy to put 2 more loops, I should say, 4 more spaces, just to, like, a little bit more adjacent to our building, but up that sidewalk ramp. And you can see that on an exhibit we provided for the landscaping plan that would show some bike parking kind of closer to the proposed building. So those are the 2 things to consider. Option one is just leave the 3 racks. People are using, and long-term bike parking is the ones that people are utilizing. They don't want to leave their bikes in the rain anymore. So we think that leaving the 3 would be advantageous. But if the LDRs are going to require us to put 4 per each building, then so be it. It is what it is.
Calculation there.
So I think Chris is asking if the LDRs allow them to consider both the existing and the proposed building together for the purposes of calculating minimum bike parking.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking, Chris?
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a minimum. It ends up being a minimum of 4, even though we would, if you did the calculation, it only requires us to do 2.
Right. So the minimum number of bike parking spaces is as in the table. I'm just skimming through the LDR to see if it's specific. I don't think it's specific. It says for type of activity, it has a certain number of bike parking spaces, and then the types of activities are residential buildings, and then the next one is warehousing and distribution and storage, lumber and contractor's yard, and light manufacturing. It doesn't specifically say building there. I think it's a little open, but I think that if the board were to find that they could consider them together, that sort of interactively ties the 2 buildings into one thing. And this application was initially submitted as being its own standalone project. I don't know if that's a great way to head, if it could potentially become disconnected from the.
Well, that's what I'm wondering too, because right now
future.
Both of them are used by Beta, but there's a potential future.
Right.
Not anytime.
Only catch is that we're sharing a parking lot, so we'd be sharing bike parking as well. That's where I thought maybe just having all the bike parking in one spot would be good. The other alternative 3 is we just add another loop at the end of those 3. And then you kind of have all your bike parking and outdoor bike parking in one spot that kind of supports both buildings, just like the parking would support both buildings.
Yeah. So board, what I think I would be a little hesitant to kind of link these 2 buildings together for the purposes of this requirement as far as existing and proposed. Just because and especially a concept like this, when it comes specifically to bike parking, might come up more, not just at the airport, but elsewhere. I think I'd be a little hesitant to group them together, but I'm curious what other folks think.
I'm in agreement with you. I think they need to stand alone.
Okay.
So 4 minimum each is what we'll need.
Yep. So per building basis, and then.
And just to support the location, the LDRs do require the bike parking to be located near a principal entrance to the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of rules out option 3. But that's okay. Yeah. We did provide an exhibit that showcases the 4 spaces, kind of near the snippet parklet area, and provides that. So we'll proceed with that, and that should meet that requirement. Yep.
And so that will be
there's going to be. Yeah, sorry, we did provide an exhibit that shows the long-term bike parking spaces. So there's 2 racks inside, and then there's actually going to be 4 lockers, meeting those size requirements inside the hangar.
It's on A11.
Oh, okay, thank you. I hadn't found it. Okay, great. Sounds like the rest of the board has identified it. Okay, great. I see it now as well. Thank you. Great. So I think that covers everything for number 9. Anything else? Okay. Moving on to number 10. So landscaping again. The applicant is currently proposing, and we know this is changing, but these are the current numbers, $55,570 in on-site plantings, which includes 4 trees, a number of shrubs, and 12,000 in perennials. The current comment, which again we can discuss, staff recommends the board consider requiring the applicant to adjust the plantings to propose a higher proportion of trees, particularly along Eagle Drive where there is an existing green strip proposed to be retained and in and around the proposed site amenity to improve compliance with the landscaping standards thereof. And so it's I know this can be worked out internally, but to the extent it can be, clarification can be provided now. If you guys could speak to the 3 locations that are listed in the staff comment and whether you expect trees could be there or not. So that is Eagle Drive, around the proposed site amenity, and maybe that's it. So yes, of those ones that are listed here, are trees possible or are those no-go zones?
So yeah, we will be adding bushes around that enclosure to sort of pretty that up from the street side. Larry and I were just talking. We would love to keep some sort of trees or some version of a tree here. I don't know, Cynthia, if there's a tree that we could pick that would not, be an 80-foot tall tree, but something that was slightly smaller that you might be able to recommend.
Yeah, so we should talk in detail with Larry, but based on requirements from the 2 previous beta projects along Da Vinci, we thought we had a handle on this. Sorry, Larry. We'll get in touch.
Sorry.
Everybody that was on board at the time remembers the issues we had. So, and we want to keep the big trees away from the runway, and this is close to the runway.
Yes. So the kind of max height of 2 out of 3 of the trees shown here is about 40 feet. So we are going to get together with Larry and figure out, what the cutoff really is. The other criteria that, again, we sort of thought we had internalized, I think we're close, is that these are all sort of, relatively sterile hybrids. Like they do not produce fruit, nuts, the sort of things that actually draw the birds. So the sterility of them, while kind of unfortunate from like an ecosystem perspective, we have seen, very few sort of wildlife interactions in the landscaping we've already done on Beta Campus, which is fine. I mean, it's like sad to say that, but it's a necessity. So we're sort of proceeding with species that produce as little wildlife value as possible. And that we had reviewed by the USDA consultant a few years ago, and we can sort of regroup with him if he still has his job. And refer back to that list. So the problems we have to solve, as I hear them, is height. We need to figure out what the maximum allowable height is, and we need to retain the sort of the thinking that we use sort of highly cultivated species that are good for people but not good for birds.
Yep.
So
Great. So I think, you guys have to sort that all as much as you can. Propose smaller trees that are going to work for all those reasons. I think the board like to see that. Any other feedback on landscaping at this time?
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a logistics question? Can we actually close on this application because we can't close on the master? So then you have to come back. This will kill comment 12 as well. It's about landscaping. So if you're just going to produce a new landscaping plan, just suggesting we skip over landscaping questions.
Yeah. We'll just. If they can't be discussed, then we'll just move on. We won't keep saying the same things here. So, all right. So with that, moving on to we're on 11. Oh, did we skip? We go from no 10. So that's where we were. Yep. Now we're on 11. That's what I get for scrolling around. Okay. So this is about the lighting. The applicant has submitted lighting cut sheets for the proposed wall packs. Staff recommends board require the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the shielding requirement prior to closing the hearing. just to have that. And I think you guys had that in the materials here.
Yep, it provided some lighting touches.
Okay.
These are consistent with the other buildings, the MXT hangar, so it's the same light fixture.
Great. Anything else on that one, board? And as Charlie pointed out, comment 12, it deals with the landscaping as well. That is for landscaping the 2 above ground utility cabinets. So again, we know a lot has to be revisited about landscaping, but anything you guys want to know specific to that screening?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yep.
And the location of the facility being the utility cabinets, we need clarification on that.
Yeah, this was some of the plans
Oh, from
called
sheet to
called
sheet.
it
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
one thing, and some plans called it another.
Okay.
But that was what it is the thing that you showed the picture of. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we revised that. Let's see.
Is this comment 13?
Yeah, comment 13. Sorry. Yeah.
We had interpreted that to also mean there was one of our photometric drawings was working off the old baseline of the site plan, and the building was about 4 feet off of the other drawings. So that has been updated, so all the drawings are consistent sheet to sheet as far as the building's exact location. I don't believe we picked up on a comment regarding any labeling or inconsistencies there.
Okay. So it sounds like those updates have been made, and that's something you'll verify, check and verify, as say. Okay. Those are all the comments. Board, anything else that comes to mind? Anything else from you all? Okay.
No, that's it. Thank you.
So yeah, I think we'll see some revisions next time we see you. So we initially targeted, it looks like staff potentially targeted this to be August 5th.
Yeah, so August 5th, it is a 5 Tuesday month, so typically we ask for revisions 2 weeks before the continued hearing, so that gives interdepartmental review and us a week to write staff reports, and then gives you a week to digest them. Because it's a 5 Tuesday month, that gives you a week to make any edits. Is that okay? Can you work with that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Okay. So
That's sufficient time to kind of do all the landscaping determinations. Okay, I'm seeing nodding. Great.
Yeah.
Just wanted to confirm. So it sounds like. Oh, yep. And before we continue, if there is any public comment, no one is in person, but if anyone is online. Not seeing anyone looking to make any comments. So with that, I will entertain a motion to continue both MP 2501 and SP 2527 to August 5th.
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right. So we will see you guys on the 5th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the 7th item on our agenda this evening is the minutes, but we didn't have a draft prior to printing the packet. So we will revisit those next meeting. And then lastly is any other business. I don't think we have anything else. And with that, the meeting is adjourned at 8:11.
thank you.